Welcome into another Q&A, questions and alcohol, where we ask the questions, and usually our guests talk about something in the alcohol world, whether it's drinks, food, art, or more, and it's in Kentucky and beyond. And in this episode, we're kind of just barely going beyond Kentucky, and they have a great impact here in Kentucky as well, because I've been able to try many of their beers down here in Lexington. I'm excited to have them on. But before we introduce our guests, don't forget to follow us on social media at Hop Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. We're also on YouTube as well, and at hopspirits.com. But we're here to talk MadTree Brewing, and this is in honor of Earth Day, and they do some really cool stuff. And I'd like to welcome in Trevor Self, the MadTree marketing manager, and Rhiannon, I can't say your last name, who's their director of strategic impacts.
Rhiannon Hoeweler. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, before I hit the record button, I at least got your first name correct, but I don't think I could go 2 for 2. So thank you for helping. Now, Trevor's was a little easier. I appreciate that, Trevor. So for those that probably may not know the behind the scenes people at MadTree, you're 2 of them. Like I said, director of strategic impact and the marketing manager. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got into this crazy industry that is craft beer and alcohol?
Trevor, you want to go first?
Sure. So my buddy from college actually got into home brewing about 10 years ago, and I got into it as well, and wanted to learn more, and came to meet a girl I went to high school with, whose husband works at MadTree, still does, and got plugged in with him, just trying to learn more. So I've actually been here almost 8 years, and started off on packaging, then went to our quality lab to launch and implement our sensory program. And all this whole time I've been helping out, writing copy, coming up with ideas, stuff for sales sheets. And then all of a sudden we started getting bigger and more opportunities arose, as well as working across multiple departments. And finally I was like, hey, I love marketing. How can we make something fit? And slowly, gradually, started transitioning out of some of those other roles and strictly marketing. So the running joke is I've had the most positions at the company, and I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but I'm happy where I'm at.
And you're still there,
Still here.
And my history with MadTree is not as storied as Trevor's. I've been here for about 18 months. I came from the land of zoos. So I worked as the VP of Visitor Experience Strategy and Fun at the Cincinnati Zoo for 11 years, and transitioned here to MadTree about 18 months ago. When I started at the zoo, we were in a building phase, and I felt like the opportunity here at MadTree was to get back into that building phase. So when I started at the zoo, we saw about 900,000 people. And by the time I left, we had 1.8 million people coming through the gates. So I love the opportunity to build. I think the way that they're building into their business and into their community is really the way that companies are going to start going. And I think it was a really good opportunity to be in a beloved brand still within my community, and also get the opportunity to build out and create alongside a growing team.
Well, and like you said, it's a cool organization, and I mean everything they do kind of has an impact and a focus with it. I guess my first thing, and this probably goes to Trevor, is what is with the name MadTree, and does it have any meaning?
So way back in the day, when the owners were sitting around and finally decided they wanted to open a brewery, they were trying to think of 2 words that fit together. That one, they wanted something that represented like growth, community, kind of like a focal point, and tree was very easy. And then at the time, they were trying to put a word with it that reflected them and their passions, and they kind of called themselves the mad scientists. And like psychopathy was brewed 20 plus times before they let anyone else try it, because they were wanting to hone in and tweak and get exactly what they wanted. So one day around a campfire, maybe some home brews and other beers, someone finally threw out the word mad, and then they loved how it worked together, and wanted to keep that T capitalized. So that's MadTree came about, and it's still got some resonance today and ringing, but it also, we get to go a lot further with that name and brand. About we kind of say like we're mad about our community and about giving back and impact, to kind of hold on to that origin story, but also showcase that we've grown and expanded from there.
Well, it is kind of the perfect name named in, and it allows a lot of fun, I'm sure, for marketing purposes and even other things as well. You talk about mad about the community, things like that, and mad in a good way, because you guys really do give back. I mean, from planting trees to recycling plastic handles to spent grains to the farm. Why, how, what did all this come from, and how does it work for you all?
Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we are on a trajectory, right? We want to grow this company by 3x and have $5 million of impact along the way. So we're setting some big goals, and we're putting a stake in the ground on who we want to be as a company and who we want to be as a brand. So we are getting our team out and volunteering in community. Last year alone, we had 1,700 hours of volunteer work within the community, and we have a much bigger goal this year. We've expanded our staff size, that helps. But we also put it in our job descriptions. We hold our people accountable to it in our annual reviews, right? And we also set up opportunities for them each and every month. We do care about the community, right? In that we also want to be sustainable within our own four walls. So yeah, the spent grain is really important to us, right? Not just sending that back to the landfill, but sending that to a place where it's getting recycled through cows, essentially. We just landed a grant with our local community, and we're going to be able to recycle the super sacks and the malt bags that we utilize in the brewing process. So those will no longer be going to the landfill in about a month. They'll be recycled. So we care about it internally, but we also care about it externally. We're for our private events, every private event, we tack on a carbon offset. Now people can opt in or out of that, but we've been able to drive those dollars straight back into our community parks, and get trees planted in the ground to increase canopy, which does amazing things for health outcomes in our community. We're tying it back into the neighborhoods that have less than 40% tree canopy cover. So there's multiple ways in which we are driving our goals back, both internally in our own company, but also externally in our community and alongside our staff. Our staff's a huge way for us to be together in community, but also to be out in community. So we're building culture right inside our own team, which is awesome. And then, except yesterday we worked really hard, and I think people were dying. No, but it's really good, right? We build culture and community within our own team, but we also get to get out and be with our neighbors.
Well, I think it's really cool too. I believe I read where, obviously you guys want them to go out and volunteer, but you go a step further and pay them their normal working day rate wage to go out, and it's what, like 16 hours a year or something like that they get to go volunteer, but they're still getting paid. So it's kind of like a win-win for everybody.
Yep, it's great. It's great for our partners also to see us, right? And so part of who we tie back into is the 1% for the planet nonprofits. So 99% of what we do is with those nonprofits within our community, and they are very focused on environment. So we're kind of winning in both ways there as well. But yes, totally gets paid to do so.
And that is awesome to see. And it kind of just shows how focused and dedicated y'all are to the sustainability efforts and giving back. Besides just those kind of that people can maybe see or read about, the trees, the spent grain, recycling the plastics, what other ways have you guys worked to give back to the community?
Yeah, so we do. So the 1% for the planet component, right? Some of that can be through volunteer time, but some of that is just straight up dollars going back into the community. So we support financially nonprofits within our community. We shut down both spaces 2 times a year. And one of those times is we literally all get together as an entire company And we work with Cincinnati Parks and Cincinnati Parks Foundation to get trees into neighborhood parks. So that's a really fun opportunity for us to all get away from the office and go and be together outside of our four walls. We also, a really cool thing we've done is we're trying to build our pipeline and diversify our pipeline of staff. And so we have invested in a scholarship to reduce barriers and provide more access. So we partner with Cincinnati State. We provide a scholarship for a woman or a person of color in their brewing technologies program. So it helps alleviate about half the price tag of going through that program. And we're hoping to create a pipeline of people coming into our doors so that we can get a look at the next generation of folks who are interested in the brewing world, so we can kind of diversify our staff. We also look at pay equity for women across the company and make sure that we are taking care of everybody in our company. So I'd say those are some other ways that we're really paying attention to our impact.
Well, I was going to say, and you touched on this a little early too, that $5 million goal by 2030, and that encompasses a lot of different things, including a lot that you talked about. But I mean, how tough is that goal, and how are you guys building toward it?
Yep. So a big chunk of that, I'd say half of it, is coming from that 1%. So 1% of our sales goes straight back into our community through our nonprofit partners. So that's a big chunk of it. Some of it is getting other partners on board with us, right? So one of the things we're doing is we have a women's speakers series event that we host once a month. We're bringing in amazing women from Cincinnati. We've actually brought in another woman from somewhere else, but predominantly it's sort of remarkable women in our own community that are doing remarkable things. And we have a panel of 3 women each month. And so we have a partner that's helped sponsor that. So some of that is also how we are measuring our impact to get to that $5 million. Who is willing to sign on with us and say, we're in as well, and we want to partner with you on impact and grow, right? Because if the whole point behind 1% for the planet was to bring both for-profit and not-for-profit together so that we're not all working in these silos, that we're working together in community. So I would say those are some other ways that how we pull in people into our community is important. We also value trees. So we put a valuation on trees, and over time, those trees become more valuable. So we take into account attrition, right, over the next decade, because not every tree that we're planting is going to last, but we're taking in tree value into account. I'd say we also do it through asking the people who are our customer base to join in with us, right? So we have our toss a buck in the tap room. So you toss a buck up and that goes straight into one tree planted. We are also asking people when they purchase things from our merchandise, they can either tack onto one tree planted. At Alcove, our new location, they can also tack onto one tree planted on their bill. The socks that you can buy through our merch stand are from Conscious Step. Those also help in planting trees. So we're asking others to get in here with us and do the work with us. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to successfully do this quite yet, but we have also asked people to volunteer with us. And we have about 100 people signed up to come out and get dirty with us and build some sweat equity with us. But we've been waiting for COVID to subside a little bit so we can actually invite other people out to volunteer with us. So I think that's another way that we build into community, and we ask the community to build out with us. So those are some probably key. Can you think of any others?
Yeah, well, I guess also it's in order to have that $5 million, right, we want to do things to increase additional revenue streams or revenue streams that we already have. So things like the programming from Ascending Women to other events being led by our consumer experience team to bring in people that may not otherwise come here, or to utilize our spaces that are not being filled. So amazing programming and ideas coming through that front. taking things like psychopathy and adding on a tropical variant is something that is a really easy pivot. But now we have 2 offerings for our distributor to get the word out there with a brand that has an established name for almost 10 years in the craft beer industry, which is very, very telling, and something that we can have our sales team push throughout our distribution area. And trying to get more people under the MadTree umbrella by appealing to them and asking what the consumer wants. So that's where things like Sway by MadTree, the premium vodka soda cocktails, came from, where we invested a lot of time and effort of what flavors are popular right now, what are consumers looking for from a claims perspective, and then hiring out. We hired a sensory group to have people come taste the beverages here and really collect data to tell us what exactly people want, and then we can move forward with producing that product and appealing to people that may not drink beer or otherwise be interested in MadTree. And then all of a sudden they're finding a product that they like, they're learning more about who we are and what our purpose is, and now they're a fan and they're telling their friends about it. I think the other thing we realize is that people love coming to our spaces. So during COVID, it wasn't everyone hunkered down. It was like, what can we be doing now so that when we start coming out of this, we're ready and prepared. And that's where our new bar and restaurant in historic OTR came about, Alcove. And we met with, we know how to do drinks and experience really well, and wanted to find a chef that also aligned with our values. And that's where we got Stephen Williams and his protege, Brandon Lomax, and super hyper local, farm to table. I think we say like almost 90% of their product comes within like a 30-mile radius of the building. And also thing that people get excited about, an amazing atmosphere with a massive living wall, great people, and then good food and drink for people to just gather around. Something that we do really well, which is, connect people with each other and try to create that immersive environment that people want to experience.
Well, I was going to say too, you kind of touched on it. You got the Alcove and Over the Rhine, which is a cool looking space. In your tap room, the kind of the original tap room, it is such a neat space too. I mean, how does even just this kind of giving back? I mean, you mentioned the buck, throw the buck in, to the plants that are in these tap rooms and the canopy that's at the Alcove. How does all that still tie back to kind of these goals? Because it seems like it's everywhere in a good way.
I think we can probably tag team this one, but I think, right, one of the things I forgot to mention is Alcove, we're also going for LEED Gold status. We'll be the only restaurant downtown with LEED Gold, if we can get there. So it's just tying, like that's walking the walk, right? And then I think the other piece is Alcove is like that next iteration of what MadTree is, right? So we're really trying to live out our purpose to connect people to nature and each other, and we're connecting people to nature within our own spaces now, right? So that living wall is like, we want you to come in and just be able to take a big deep breath and feel like you're really connecting to nature. We can't like build, necessarily Alcove in the middle of a forest with no roof and no right, walls, but we're bringing in as much tropical and natural feel as we possibly can into the space. That's why it's one of the biggest living walls that you'll see anywhere. But yeah, so I think that's we're trying to live and breathe every single piece of our brand into our spaces. And 2.0, while it is very much a big space, right? But it's also a repurposed space. It's not a space that we came in and built. It's not a space that we, it's being repurposed. So it's living the brand in a different way, but we were kind of taking Alcove to that next step of like really bringing the brand a little bit closer to life within a physical space. You can probably speak more.
Yeah, and I think because of the vision and goals of the company that employees have really latched on that you may see or not see, whether it's finding ways to conserve water or changing steps in the brewing process that maybe aren't necessary or we can make them more efficient. To one of our bartenders, we have crowns and coloring papers for families, and because we want to be family friendly and accept everyone, and finding a recycling program that gets those crowns get repurposed. So there's all these like small little things that you may see or may not see. We have a zero waste tap room, and just either encouraging employees to find ways in their own fields and departments to make things better, or there's a lot of really good experts out there who are either local, national, or global that you can ask and pick their brains of what they're doing. And I think everyone here wants to be better, and so I think it starts from the top all the way down of encouraging people to find ways to be better, have that impact.
I think
Well,
a cute
go for
one to like jump in on that. We don't Alcove, we have a new space where we're selling wine, and all of a sudden we have a new thing, right? Which is wine comes with corks. So the assistant GM down there just sent me an email the other day, like, hey, this isn't a problem that we've had before. So what do we do with these? Right. So like it is everybody, it's those little moments. And that's actually when you're winning, is when your staff is like coming to you and asking like, oh, this is a new thing. How do we work it in? Or and to Trevor's point about Brandon Lomax, right? Like that kitchen reuses till it cannot be reused anymore, right? Like, how do we use the zest from the bar for the kitchen, or vice versa? How do we use the zest at the bar and then repurpose that lime once we've gotten the zest and give it to the bar to reuse, right? So it's that like very circular economy within our own spaces that that Stephen and Brandon have brought to our table, which is awesome.
I was gonna say that is amazing to see, because when you have buy-in from everyone, that's when you're really making that impact is greater than just the original goals. It can grow so far, and you guys are growing too. Like you said, you have the Sway by MadTree. You've got some amazing beers. Can you talk a little bit about those, the Sways, and then just the beers you guys have on tap that folks might not be used to seeing besides the IPA that is well known?
Yeah, so Sway by MadTree literally just came out 2 weeks ago. It's a vodka soda and two awesome flavor combinations. We've got grapefruit ginger and then strawberry guava, and you can find it all throughout the greater Cincinnati area, so Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, and Dayton. If anyone comes up for an FC Cincinnati game, we've got it, cans of that available there too, which is awesome. And they're very refreshing, 100 calories, gluten-free, 0 sugar, 1 carb. So everything you would want. And we just, kind of put MadTree's own spin on it and made it a little more elevated and premium. But, it's a product that even our head brewer is super proud of, and everyone here enjoys. So that's available now in 4 packs of slim cans. And we're already iterating next flavors. And the Sway brand was built in a way that any type of liquor that we want to look into or research, it kind of is big enough to hold that. And so we're constantly looking at, what's next and how can we win with our consumers and still create a quality product that everyone here is proud of and bring more people into our story.
It's really good.
Well, I love the name too. Like I said, it plays very well on just the MadTree, the tree, and all that. I mean, and then like you said, you guys have been able to kind of expand some beer lines and so forth, and have some amazing brews there. Can you talk a little bit about those for folks that may not know all the different beers that you guys are able to brew?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of amazing beers out there. Tropical Psychopathy also just came out this year, so it's a passion fruit, orange, and guava variant on an IPA that was typically more of like that old school West Coast style. So same name, but totally different flavors. And there's folks who have been psychopathy tried and true their whole lives. They're like, all right, now I'm getting my 12-pack of psychopathy, but also picking up a 6-pack of this, because it's still under the same name, but it's incredibly delicious. We've got Rounding Third out right now, a red IPA, paying homage to our first sports team for the MLB, Cincinnati Reds. And then we have this really cool line called Hoeweler, which is going to be quarterly, like different types of. The first one was a Mexican style hot chocolate, and this one is a Mexican lager. So it'll be out in the next few weeks. Really easy, crushable, perfect for summer and Cinco de Mayo. And constantly looking at IPAs are still king. So we've got 2 more IPAs coming out: Summer Camp Haze and Midwest Luau. And then we have our Tree Search series, which is an exploration. It's basically our best IPA recipes that we can in 16-ounce cans for a limited time. And it's a series. The artwork is beautiful. It kind of portrays what we are as like trying to, push the boundaries of what an IPA can be and different hops or new yeast strains, and really letting those flavors and ingredients shine. And our brewers get to have a ton of fun with it. And those are super popular too. So still iterating and come up with brand new things from a beer perspective, but also now in the ready to drink cocktail category.
It's awesome to see, and I'm a big fan of the shade. That is one of my favorites of yours, and probably what I get the most. So I guess I will wrap this up. I mean, folks can go to madtreebrewing.com and find them on social media as well. But what's next for y'all that you're allowed to say that this is recorded, so you can actually tell me, and or maybe just kind of what you guys are hoping for the rest of 2022.
Yeah, so we're really excited for Sway and how it's been received, and creating more flavors and testing them. So hopefully just being able to tack on to that and build that brand out even more, and try to get it distributed further and further away from our home too, as people start to recognize that brand. And we're always, people come to us with locations, we talk to people, so there's always, whenever not doing our research and due diligence, it just doesn't make sense to fall into our 30 million in revenue and 5 million of impact plan or not. And what's the best decision to continue to be a lean business, but also generating revenue and additional streams to accomplish what we want to.
I'm really excited for Sway by the Pool. And I'm really excited for Alcove. It's been an amazing journey. It feels really good to be in a growth spot. It's so cool to see a company, right, double in size overnight, and to see new things come to life. And with everything, there's opportunity, right? There's iterative process in that, right? So we got to keep getting better in those spaces. But to Trevor's point, Sway can grow. Alcove can grow. Both of them are doing really, really well. So that's a good beginning, but there's also still tons of opportunity in both of those things to keep growing. And then what does that, success beget success? And so how do we continue down that path of growing this thing out and getting to our goals?
Well, I can't wait to see what's next and how you guys can continue to build upon that impact. And Rhiannon, Trevor, I thank you so much for being able to tell the story of MadTree and the great things y'all are doing.
Thanks so much, Jonathan.
Thanks for having us.